Hello, I'm Jouni, the CTO of Process OPC, and in this presentation I will talk about the development kits, how to get started with OPC UA using development kits for product development. In part 1 of the same presentation I was concentrating on the end user products, and there I already explained concepts like the profiles and certification, and in this presentation I'm not going into that, but I recommend you to take a look at that presentation as well. I'm again mentioning the free test applications that I also mentioned in part 1 because they are useful for developers, of course, as well. And the second part of the presentation is about the development kits, and I will explain the concepts of stack components and Sdks, the software development kits. Free test applications available from OPC Foundation, Unified Automation and Process OPC can be very helpful, especially helpful when you are developing new products, because these applications already know how to do OPC UA the right way, and when you're developing your own product you need to test them out or test that one out in relation to other existing products. And these client applications and server applications are very helpful. You can access the OPC Foundation samples from GitHub, from the .NET Legacy project that I will mention later on in this presentation, and you can get the free applications from Unified Automation and Process OPC by accessing their websites. Now you're ready to start development, and the question is where and how and what's the proper approach for this. So the first thing you need to know is that OPC UA is quite a complicated thing, unfortunately, but it's not for nothing. There's a lot of functionality and features, and you don't need to do everything right from the start. But what you need to know is that there are two major parts. There are the stack components that take care of the interoperable communication, and OPC Foundation in general is providing these for different programming environments. And then there are the software development kits that provide standard implementation of OPC UA functionality. And your application code comes on top of this. You are of course free to do everything right from the bottom yourself if you need for some reason, or you can replace any of these parts with your own components. But these are the functionalities that you need to take care of. On the lowest level, you need to have interoperable communication that conforms to the OPC UA specifications. On the second layer, you need to have application functionality regarding different information models, different node management issues, subscription management, session management, and identity management that are all part of OPC UA in general. And on top of this, you write your own application. And the idea with the SDKs especially is that they give you a good start for the beginning so that you can concentrate on the application development and you don't need to know all the details about OPC UA in practice. The stacks are nowadays available from GitHub, the ones that OPC Foundation is providing, and these come in different flavors. There's the .NET option, which is nowadays in two parts. There's the old legacy version of .NET, and then there's a new .NET standard which conforms to the latest Microsoft version of .NET. And then there's also a stack component for Java and for ANSI C. And what you need to know is that there are different licensing models related to the OPC Foundation stacks. All the source code is now available from GitHub, and it's open sourced, under the GNU public license, which is unfortunately quite restrictive in the way that it's useful for non-commercial use, but it's not really good for commercial use necessarily. The main restriction with GPL is that it requires that your application must also be released under GPL, so it makes your application also an open source application in practice. But there's the other option, there's the commercial version, the reciprocal community license that OPC Foundation is providing for its members and also for the SDK manufacturers to redistribute for their customers. So if you're purchasing SDK components, you can be sure that you can use the stacks freely for any commercial use as well. This is very important to know. And of course then the SDK part, you need to check the licensing models there as well. Commercial SDKs are available for Java, .NET and C, C++, the same way as the stack components. And OPC Foundation has a sample of the .NET SDK provided with the stack project. But for the other environments, you really need to do it yourself or find a pre-written SDK component. And for Java, you can get one from Process OPC. For .NET, you can get one from Unified Automation, Softing, or OPC Labs. For example, there might be other vendors providing these as well, but these have been the most active ones. And also for C, C++, you can get a good SDK from Unified Automation, Softing, or from Matricon OPC, which is more targeting the embedded originally, nowadays also other environments. The C, C++ in general is of course more suited for embedded where you have limited resources, but anyways your decision pretty much depends on which environment you want to work on. Okay, the SDKs are kind of certified as well, but in practice what we are certifying are sample applications written with the SDKs. So therefore it's better to search for the SDK products from the product catalog, which I mentioned in the online resources part, and also in this part 1 of the Getting Started presentation in more detail. You can search for the SDK products from the catalog, but you probably need to go to the All Products department because the SDK certification is not that strictly defined as it is for the other ones. Also, what you need to know about the certification is that the certificates for the products are valid for a few years, and after that the products should be recertified. There can be SDK products especially that have been on the market for a long time. They have been certified several years ago, but now with the latest versions of the specifications they haven't yet been recertified. But anyways, search for these from the SDK department of the products or using the SDK keyword. It's not 100% certain to find all the results, so you may need to also look for the products from the internet in general. Why should you use the commercial SDK is the question, of course. Well, you get the professional quality for industrial use, of course. You get full documentation for the products. You get support for the full OPC UA feature set. They are constantly improved and updated. You get product maintenance and support, warranty and liability from the vendors. And in general, they are certified solutions, although what I mentioned about the uncertainty of the SDK certification process is still pretty much valid, but you can be sure that there are products in the market that have been written with these SDKs in the first place. In general, you get faster time to market with your own products, and you get a long-term solution because you get a convinced vendor that's behind the product and committed to keep it in the market and improve it in long term. One more thing is certification. I don't talk very much about the certification at the moment, but you can look for the information at the website, and there will probably be a separate presentation about certification in general. But from the website you will find information about the certification process that OPC Foundation is hosting. So you can start from the overview and benefits and then go through the whole process. You can get tools from the OPC Foundation. If you're a member, you get them for free. If you are not a member, then you need to or can purchase them for your needs as well. But the idea is that once you get your product certified, you get a certified logo that you can show with the product, and you will be also listed in the certified products listing at the OPC Foundation website. So this is very much recommended as the last step of your development once you get that far. Of course, in the beginning, you just need to find the right tools to use, and then it's a long way still to get to the final products. But this is how it should go, and we can support you in each phase. So thank you for that. I hope this gives you a generic idea how to start with development and what are your alternatives and what are your options. And I'm sure you will find good products in the market that help you out with this. And the OPC Foundation resources are also very much usable. So please check also the other presentations, the part 1 of the Getting Started and the online resources presentations that are available. Thank you very much.